Hi, and welcome to Straight Shot Radio. My name is Johnny Slick, and I'm the founder and head coach at Straight Shot Training, a personal training company that helps people of all fitness levels build strength and confidence both in and out of the gym with focused workouts and expert coaching. With the days getting shorter, darker, and colder, seasonal depression, mood changes, changes in your sleep habits, or even just a lack of motivation or desire to get into the gym can make sticking to your training routine difficult, if not impossible. I'll be completely honest with you here. When Coach Delaney came to me with the topic for the podcast this week, I told her, this isn't something that personally I struggle with. So I would much rather she take the reins on the episode and come up with the outline and the questions and lead the conversation and just take over the podcast this week while I took a back seat and just handled the production of it while Delaney and Coach John just did their thing and did an awesome job with this episode. A surprise guest actually joined us for the episode as well. Coach Ian Wendt, who some of you in the Frederick area may remember, was in town from Florida and stopped by to visit, and he was awesome enough to pull up a chair and contribute to this episode. Now, the coaches are very open in this episode about mental health and their personal issues with mental health and how the winter months affect them. But just remember, we are not mental health professionals. The coaches are sharing their experience and what has helped them, and they have some general tips for you. But nothing that you hear in this episode today should be taken as a prescription or medical advice of any kind. If you are struggling with depression, please see a mental health professional. All right, let's get into training through the winter blues with some of the Straight Shot coaches plus our special guest.
We are going to jump right in. So John, Ian, and Johnny, if you can answer this. In regards to your training during seasonal depression or the winter blues, do you have a specific go-to strategy or recipe that you guys follow? Or do you take a more intuitive approach to adjust your training based on how you're feeling? And you guys can explain.
There is a drastic and total shift in my training that started just this week.
Okay, so you changed for the whole season.
Yeah, this is about 4 months of constant dread and near lack of happiness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude. Just really upbeat tone about it. No. Like hanging out, chatting is just, it's brain chemistry. I do a lot of other stuff to help work with it. But it always starts with the warm-up. Like that's the critical change that I make. And normally I've been doing like for spring and summer, it's like 10, 15 minutes on warm up, some cardio stuff to start moving, and then a lot of like high volume band work and basic body weight movements. And then just this week, it is EMOMs. It is every minute on the minute stuff of 1 or 2 movements that the clock goes off, I have to move. There's no choice. And I keep adding reps every minute. I remember like last winter, I was even texting Johnny during the middle of this of like, well, here's my warm-up. He's like, that's your warm-up? That's a workout. Yeah, dude. Because I aim to be pouring sweat, gasping for breath, and scrambling at the peak of it to just finish.
Okay.
Because I know that I'm going to drag my butt. I'm not going to want to do anything. A warm-up that should take 10 minutes could be like 40 minutes, barely moving. So I know that I'm going to feel terrible and have no motivation and not even care. Like the last thing I want to do is train in that first minute, but 6-7 minutes in, I'm like, heck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Blast that metal. I'm ready to sling some iron.
Okay, cool.
And the rest of the training is just based around the clock. Like instead of like waiting 2 minutes between sets, now everything is turned into you go every 5 minutes or you go every 3 minutes. So
that's perfect.
It's not all based on feeling.
Yeah, so you don't leave any interpretation for yourself whatsoever to be like, I'll just rest a little longer. You just go.
I have to do it. Doesn't matter how I feel. The only changes that'll happen is if I can't move the weight, I reduce the weight.
Oh, that's.
But I read the program on the weekend, and as soon as I start moving, it's execute the plan.
Good. Yep, I like that.
What are you thinking?
Ian?
So my workout doesn't really change that much. I work out midday, so it's always sunlight outside, and it doesn't really get that cold where I live right now. It stays in like the 70s.
Can we get a Straight Shot satellite in Florida?
It doesn't really get overcast or rainy that much, so it's a lot of sunlight, and I do notice a difference living down there compared to up here, where it would kind of be seasonal blues, where I would change my training. I remember going over to the warehouse at the YMCA and just demolishing myself just to like overload my body and just work out as hard as I could to try to make myself feel better.
And the tough thing there too is there was no windows.
Yes, there were no windows. It was dark.
There was like there were like the few windows at the door.
Yeah, right.
And that's it.
And it was pretty cold too.
That place would barely ever heat up.
On, so I forced myself to keep it fast paced, keep my temperature up, and just get after it.
Nice.
Delaney, what about you?
I definitely take a more intuitive approach. Overall, I definitely get more, for sure, I get more sad in the winter. I personally hate the cold with a burning passion, so just motivation-wise, doing stuff in the winter is tough. But I don't get, I definitely, for the most part, still am pretty happy. So it's less to do with mood depending on the day. But because of the lack of sunlight, I for sure feel it. So I definitely take a more intuitive approach. In a perfect world, I would probably actually compete more because having those set goals really help me stay on top of things and be really happy. But anyone that's worked in the fitness industry knows that January and the setup for January, and then in February when you're still getting everything in, that's our busy season. So I don't. Okay. But I pretty much the only thing I really change is I take forever to warm up. Forever. Partly by choice and also just because I get so cold so easily that I need to.
And so from a physical standpoint?
More from a physical standpoint. From a mental standpoint, I honestly don't change a lot. There are some other things that I do outside of training that I definitely change that we'll talk about in a minute, but in terms of in training, I don't change much. For sure. Yep. And this is, I'll segue right into this because this actually is the one that I do change. So what are some simple steps you guys plus our clients can take to help manage sluggishness and fatigue, and also the mental side of winter training during the colder months? So for example, this is what I was just talking about a minute ago. My biggest thing is trying to increase my vitamin D. I try and do that mostly through food sources, but if I have to, I'll do a supplement because you're not getting as much sunlight anywhere close in the winter. Supplementing vitamin D can help so much with the mental fog, feeling fatigued, feeling like you just don't want to do anything or don't have the energy to do anything. So what is something that you think clients can do or you can do outside of training that can help manage the mental aspect of that?
Okay, everybody's looking at me. So absolutely, just like what the lady was saying, I think I should need to pick it up when I grocery shop this weekend, but vitamin D, in the diet, but I'm just going to go ahead and take that supplement every night until the bottle runs out, in spring. It's a plan. I have to follow the plan, and it cannot change. And I know for myself, just deliberately setting up processes or things you have to do outside, taking advantage of what little sun we have is critical. If you're at work, if you're able to move, if you have a laptop, you're able to move in front of a window, that's absolutely going to help you. Heck, if your car has a sunroof on it, well, you blast as much sun in as you possibly can.
We have to get the snow off first.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying, sorry. Open the shade, leave the glass up, and then get rid of the snow.
Well, no, that's what I meant, because then the snow covers the glass.
Well, don't let the snow come in. That's funny, but not really what you're looking for.
Right.
Other really big thing is, I know you have to put as much bright light in your living space as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So getting rid of yellow light bulbs, replacing them with full spectrum daylight bulbs, just blasting daylight constantly.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, fluorescent is nice. Fluorescent makes a big difference.
I have a couple clients who use a light therapy box.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've seen those.
Oh, critical.
Yeah.
They're nice.
It's crazy how bright those things are.
Yeah.
But
It like
just,
literally is like sun.
yeah, and they do it for like 30 minutes in the morning, like while they're eating breakfast, sitting in front of this light box, and it's
Yeah.
just like amazing for how much it helps.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
I actually have one of the light boxes.
You do?
Yeah, so in the winter I use it in the morning.
Oh,
You just
nice.
have to make sure it's not shining like directly in your eyes, but just like illuminates
Kinda
your
like the
face
sun?
for like half an hour every morning.
Do you have to switch which side of your face it's on so you don't tan too much?
Ian lives in Florida, Johnny.
I probably should.
I don't know. I'm looking at Ian. He's not very tan.
I don't get tan. I burn and then I peel and then I burn. Oh. I stay pale.
Okay, so then, did you notice a big difference when you started using the light box?
Not really.
Okay.
I do know some other people that notice a difference.
Okay.
Like some family up here, up north. But I just try to get outside, do stuff on the weekend, get plenty of sunshine, daylight. Also take vitamin D.
Okay. Do you change anything about like your sleep or your recovery to help with the mental aspect of training, exercise?
Not really.
No. Okay. Do you?
No, well, I mean, I'm going to sleep more, but, that's the depression talking.
Okay. Okay.
I just think it's important to stay on course of what you were doing before winter.
Yeah,
So
that's
keep
very
up,
true.
Your diet, whatever it is.
Yeah, you can't give just because you're emotionally might be falling apart, which seasonal, so it's not a fault of a person.
Right.
But have a plan and program and stick with it, and understand you're not going to be 100% compliant. You're not even going to be close to what you were doing spring and summer. But it's having that foundation and being ready more for coming around with spring, that you're way better prepared.
Right.
Because you're going to have days where I'm just going to eat all of this terrible for me food because it'll make me feel good. Okay, it's going to happen more in the winter. Just expect some weight gain, keep training some. It's all going to help out in the end.
Yeah.
Just stay
Yeah.
the course as best as you can.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
try not to completely fall off.
Yeah.
Except for Christmas and New Year's.
Yes. Please fall off on Christmas.
Completely ignore your ignore your meal plan and training plan. Get
Yes.
fat. 2 days. Just shove your face full of
Eat
food.
a lot of cookies and
Eggnogs, apple cider. I've never had eggnog. I know
Man, I'm a big fan.
hot apple
eggnog
cider.
is gross.
Now we're gonna fight.
Everyone that sees the poll on Facebook, write in the comments, eggnog, yay or nay.
Yeah, we need
We'll take a poll.
uninformed, like I am. I have no idea.
So this is related more to all of our clients here. As coaches, how important is it to have communication from your clients when they are mentally maybe not feeling their best, whether due from anything, but in this episode specifically due to maybe the weather or the season? Do you really value that communication? And if so, why and how? Can they make sure that you are aware of what's going on?
I make it. They got to understand that we're humans as well, so we can relate. So they're not trying to hide it and not expecting to be perfect. So I always appreciate a heads up.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm just really sad, or hey, I don't really feel like doing much today.
Right.
Like, okay, got it. We're going to work with that, and it's just go through the motions. Like, if hey, somebody's been consistently adding every week like 5 pounds to their squat and ticking up in weight for their presses. All right, cool. We're just going to back off by like 2 or 3 steps today. Just go. Just all I'm looking for is somebody to stay safe, move some relatively heavy weight for themselves, not hitting any kind of PRs, and breathe heavy. That's it.
Right.
Because they're going to feel better afterward. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's like I just need that heads up because I've had plenty of people just walk in like, hey, I've had a terrible day. I'm really sad. I got all this other stuff going on. I just don't feel like moving. All right, just going to move a little bit.
And I would
Get
much rather
some
have
done.
that, because what I always feel bad about is when someone at the end of the workout is like, hey, sorry I was off today. Like, we had to put my cat down last night.
Yeah.
Like, please don't tell us at the end of your workout.
I always
Yeah.
want to know that kind of stuff right away.
Because the body can't differentiate often between physical stress and psychological stress.
It's all stress.
It's just cumulative stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes in and they say, oh, man, I'm so tired today. Obviously, we're going to adjust their program because there's physical stress that they're not recovering from. In the same way, somebody needs to feel comfortable coming in saying, hey, I'm really not feeling it today, or any of the reasons you just said, or anything, where they're feeling mentally just completely just drained. You need to adjust the programming the same way it would be if they came in and said, my hamstrings are so sore I can't deadlift today.
Yeah.
So people need to feel comfortable knowing that as coaches, our job is not to just take what we wrote on paper and apply it to the person training. Our job is the program needs to be fluid. because we're training humans, we're not training machines.
Yeah, there's a goal we're working toward, and
Yeah.
sometimes that goal is just hoping you feel better once you leave here, but if not, just keep you right where you're at.
And actually, shout out to everyone who's been leaving us Google reviews recently. That's actually super helpful for us. But the coolest thing I've noticed that's a common theme in the Google reviews that we've been getting is that people have been saying that like this is either the best or one of the best parts of their day. And this is something where like to a lot of people, a workout is not something to look forward to. But the fact that people come in here and they leave and like when our groups left this morning, John, like people were laughing, they were having fun.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was
awesome
people were
to
making
see.
fun of us. It typically becomes a roast of whoever the coach is, which is awesome.
Which is fine. Yeah.
Well,
So-
yeah, I mean, it's like some of us maybe have a really hard time remembering people's names. Don't know who that would be.
The fact that people can come in and maybe be having a bad day and leave feeling better, but if they let us know that they're having a bad day when they come in, we can definitely work with that by changing how we're programming, even changing how we're pushing somebody.
So it's also, yeah, absolutely. Like I'm gonna have a completely same person, all of a completely different tone
Yeah.
and different energy
Yeah.
to how I'm treating them. It's
Because
gonna be
we-
a lot. Like I get high energy, super excited. I get pumped. I'm usually like screaming out, "Yes, that is amazing!" And if they're like, if they're not gonna respond to that because they're not in that kind of mood today, cool. Just like gentle encouragement and
Yep.
positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
And as coaches, we'll never ever judge you if you're like, hey, I'm like really sad today. Like we won't be like, oh, we don't care. Like just push through. I mean, if
No
we
bad vibes.
Yeah. Like, we will never do that.
No,
If we do, we probably should not have
No,
our
this
cert.
is
So
considered an all vibes welcome area.
yeah.
But also, you know what? I'm totally fine with someone telling me, "Hey, you're being a little bit too much for me today."
Yeah.
And I've had someone tell me that before
Because that is Johnny Slick.
because that is just I have one.
Johnny is either 100% or he is
Or I'm asleep.
sleeping, and I think you said you're just dead to the world.
I die for 8 hours.
You die for 7 to 8 hours a night.
All right, Delaney, so what's our?
wait,
I'm sorry. Well,
Ian,
think past-
oh, I mean our guest that we put all that expense of flying him up to Maryland for?
First class.
Right.
How was the
Yeah,
champagne on
thanks
that
for
flight?
Guys. That was awesome.
I don't know why you said you had to have 3 seats though.
You see his quads? His
Stretch
feet?
out.
He's a tall dude.
So yeah, what do you?
Yeah, so I think
adjust?
it's extremely important. I think as trainers, it's almost like an auto-regulation of sorts for us. And also, I think as a client, just checking in with that person if they had a bad day, follow up the next day. They usually find that really helpful, and it shows that you care.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, communication is so important for training, both from the coach and from the client. So
I think excuse me. Whoa.
Oh,
that was
gosh.
pure rice in my throat. I think what you said about following up is that I think that's something that people don't always realize about us as coaches, that they're not just here for that session. Like, how much time do you spend thinking about your clients even when they're not with you?
A lot.
Okay, yeah. So we think, and when the clients say that they have a bad day, a lot of us we'll see 30, 40 people over the course of a week, and that's 30 to 40 people's issues that they have that we care about.
Yeah.
So that when we check up, we're not checking a box that we're checking in on. We genuinely want to know how you're doing. I think it's important. There's check-ins. So when we ask how you're doing in a text, please be honest when you text back.
That's not a polite how you're doing. That's
No,
a real.
This is literally
Yeah.
I care about how you're doing. Please let me know.
It's the same as any friendship or relationship. You build that with your client. You want to check in on your friends, make sure they're doing okay. It's the same thing with your clients.
Absolutely.
exactly. Ian, I'll let you go first on this one. So you guys don't have to share anything if you're not comfortable. But hello, may I help you?
Yeah, I'm just reading from your screen. It's not creepy or weird.
Okay. All right. If you guys want to share, what are some of your own personal experiences you've had with training during the winter months? I know we kind of talked about that in the beginning, but in regards to your training and your mental health during the months where maybe it's a little bit colder, Ian, you might not have had to do that for a while since you were in Florida. And you do not have to elaborate if you're not comfortable, but I think something that is important for our clients to know is that even though we may seem like we have it all together, coaches are still human too. So we do understand if you are coming from a place where maybe you're like not feeling your best. Like we have been there. So, well, except for maybe Johnny.
Johnny not feeling his best is he's painfully sore.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't get his full 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah. But besides Johnny, who's a robot, we
He
are all
really
human.
is. Also, I don't know how he's that tan this time of year. Wow.
Yeah. So, Ian, do you have any like personal experiences with any type of seasonal depression or winter blues?
I think I can relate to that as like some off days, or maybe a week or two that just feels off. And I just try to keep my workout up tempo, maybe crank some good music,
Nice.
just keep myself going, and don't do any type of workout that's like a long rest period. I just try to keep going. And by the end, I feel great. You know, I walk out of the door and I'm ready to go.
Good. Yeah, I mean, that helps so much. Like, exercise does scientifically and not scientifically help boost mood. It actually literally boosts dopamine. So,
Yes.
Definitely exercising will actually help.
You
If
lift the heavy
struggle.
thing, you get the happy drugs.
Yes, exactly.
And
exactly.
finding a style of training that is enjoyable.
Yes.
So, like, I don't like running in the summer, and this is more of a physical thing, not a mental thing. So I run once it starts getting cold, and I really enjoy running, but I only enjoy it whenever it's cold. So if you enjoy a certain type of training, like maybe you don't like the cold, and maybe winter is the time for you to be in the gym more, building some muscle and some strength, and then the spring and the summer is when you go out and you do more outdoor activities and go hiking and do outside stuff. So, you know, it's really, like you said, the happy drugs of working out.
You lift the heavy stone, you get the happy drugs.
Yes.
So, but if you are training in a way that is not enjoyable to you, and you
Switch it, completely change it. Like
Yeah.
winter, if you're like me who gets extremely depressed all winter, it is not about having the most effective training that you're occasionally doing and you're miserable while doing it. It's change your training to something that you absolutely enjoy. And as long as you're not getting hurt, it doesn't need to be the most effective or well balanced.
Oh, yeah, no.
Do a thing that is going to, 1, not get you hurt, 2, you are enjoying, and that 3, you will do 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
consistency is a big thing here.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I got a big thing once we switch over to me. Is there a switch over to me?
I thought
You
it kind of
already
has.
switched, so I guess we're
I don't know. Very structured, okay?
While I'm coughing, when is it my turn to talk? Go for it, John.
Take it
So,
away.
like, I had to do this a lot last winter so November, December, January, February, I've got 4 months where I'm always going to be sad and probably really depressed and on the verge of tears, but multiple times during a day. I know that's how I am, and I'm doing a lot of other stuff outside of this. Like, there's medication involved to help deal with it. But a big part of what is happening with training is, like I already said, the warm-ups are very specific for me. This is not the kind of warm-up I would ever have a client do unless they're used to moving, unless they're like a college or high school athlete. Like somebody who's
Right.
conditioned to immediately going from nothing to pretty high intensity,
Yeah.
safely. The other thing is, I count a successful training day in the winter as one where I at least completed the warm-up and I was breathing heavy and sweating.
Okay.
Sometimes that doesn't elevate my mood enough that I would have any interest in continuing. I just don't care. I at least got in 10 minutes of really hard conditioning, and I'm feeling better for it, and it means I can put that check mark in the box of, I trained today.
Yeah.
Is the most effective? No. Did I do something really hard? Yeah.
Yeah, and even completing like a task that's maybe not as elaborate as you would complete like lift-wise or strength-wise over the summer, you still completed something.
Yeah.
Which is really important for mood boosting. Is like,
And it's
oh,
what I've
I
talked to.
achieved something.
And a
today.
lot of people I've trained before, they'll have like life stresses, they'll roll in like really depressed or a bunch of other stuff I've already mentioned, and I just tell them, hey, just if you can't make it in because you feel really bad, or if you're on having a trip, or you come in here and you don't really want to do much, you're just coming in because you know you should, and you don't feel like training after you do the warm up, that's it. You can roll out, dude. I am not
Or
going to pressure
repeat the
you.
warm up. Do it twice.
Yeah.
I've done that.
It's like, do the warm up really hard, and if you're done at that point, if you just have no more interest in continuing, you did something.
Yeah.
Like it's what I tell people. It's like you need to sweat and breathe heavy, and in the winter that counts.
Yeah,
You're
something
not
is always better
you're not
than
like,
nothing.
yeah, you're not hitting like a big heavy set of 5x5 back squats and doing a bunch of other assistance work and some running. Just do a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for me, it's also a part of why I'm training at home most of the time, even though having this ridiculously well-equipped, bright, airy, and what are we, 3,000 square feet, Mr.
3,000 square feet.
3,000 square feet. I bring everything outside at home. I open up the garage doors, I bring all of my gear outside, and I'm lifting in the sun. It might be 45 degrees out, but I'm in a t-shirt and shorts.
Right. Yep, perfect.
One of the big things I appreciate here is the amount of natural light that we have.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Even the skylights. The skylights are so nice. So something that personally helps me a lot with mood boosting, all year round, besides Dunkin' Donuts, is making my lifting really social. So whether that's lifting with a team, lifting with my friends, even lifting with people that I don't really know, like if I go to a gym and I don't really know everyone that's there, like even just being around people can help so much. So anything where you're socializing, like interacting with others, especially if you all are working towards a common goal, is super, super nice and really helps me a lot. So this is like something that's really beneficial for the people that do our semi-private classes, because you're in that small group setting, you're like vibing with the other people in the small group. You have training partners. Yeah, you have training partners.
You roll in and you have training partners and you have coaches that care.
Yeah, and having that not only helps keep you accountable, but I think it really boosts your mood when you have all these people working together to achieve something. Like that can help so much. So yeah, if anyone, if like you're really struggling with kind of like getting yourself motivated and working out during the winter months, try doing it with other people. Like try doing it with a friend, try going somewhere, join a class, come to Straight Shot.
Plug.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. But
awesome. Thank you for putting this together. So this was really nice to have an awesome podcast put together by someone that is not me.
Oh, thank
you.
To
the point of where I'm really hoping you all have another idea for next week.
Yeah, no, I already do.
You do?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like yes. I'm ready to go.
Big thank you to Ian for flying in. You got to fly
Ian.
right back out. He flew in just for this podcast. I hope we didn't hold you up for your flight.
And I'm just wondering, like, I don't understand how Coach Bailey got so caught up in that cryptocurrency scam in Thailand.
Oh, well, she's been detained, so
like
I got to figure out how to get her out.
Oh,
hashtag free Bailey.
Everybody learns.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ian. That was really awesome. I know you literally didn't come here anticipating to be in a podcast, but we literally said, "Hey, want to be in a podcast?" And you're like, "Sure." So nice job. Was this the first one you've ever done?
Yes.
Nice.
Great
well,
job
for having me.
Congratulations.
I think it was an important topic.
Yeah.
It can really help people.
For sure.
Fly
Are you going back to Florida?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going back to sunshine. Oh.
Yes.
Are you going to bring all of us with you?
I can.
Can you send us a box of sand?
I can definitely do that.
Thanks. All right, we'll look for that box of sand.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you again to the coaches for putting all of that together. You know, I made a commitment this year to putting out a podcast episode every week throughout 2021. And it has been really hard to do that with how much work the new studio has been, especially. So it was great to be able to enlist the help of some awesome coaches to take this episode on. And actually, for me, it was a lot like the experience that we work really hard to create for each person that we train at Straight Shot. Because in addition to giving you a great workout when you're in here, we want to create an environment of support and accountability so that you know that you don't have to be in your fitness journey alone. Delaney mentioned in the podcast how helpful being around other people in your training can be during this time of year, and honestly, I couldn't agree more. If you are in a rut with your fitness, maybe you've been training at home, maybe you haven't been training at all, or maybe you've been going to a big commercial gym and just aren't getting the experience you want. If you're feeling that way, I want you to come try a session with us at Straight Shot Training. No obligation at all to buy anything. Just come and experience it for yourself. We're located at 8411 Broadband Drive, Suite E, Frederick, and we have sessions throughout the day, Monday through Friday, Saturday mornings as well. And if you would like to try a free session with us, head over to straightshottraining.com and fill out any of the contact us forms that you see there. Or You can send me a message on social media using the handle @StraightShotTraining or email me at Johnny, that's JONNY, @StraightShotTraining.com. And again, our website is StraightShotTraining.com. Thanks again for listening, and have a great week, everybody.